life advice video. I have had several requests for me to do another one of these, and I figured, why not now? These talks that I give, sometimes I end up saying things because they're unscripted. I end up saying things that might require further clarification. In my video that I talked about being unmarried and not having kids, I mentioned something about foster kids and adopted kids and referenced them as being on Dateline episodes a lot. But I didn't clarify that not all adopted or foster kids are problems. So I wanted to clarify that. I was called out about it, and rightfully so. So I wanted to make that clear. I do not think that all adopted or foster kids are bad. It just seems that those troubles, those difficulties in childhood tend to create a difficult adult life sometimes, and other people persevere and overcome those. And that's part of what I want to discuss tonight. I want you to imagine this. Imagine that you are living somewhere and you get on a boat knowing that there is only a 75% chance that you will live to reach the destination, that 25% of the people on that boat with you will not be alive when you get to the destination. And you get on it anyway. And you float, and you float, and you float. This is powered by the wind, by a cloth sail, through storms. And you make it to the shore of this native land where there is nothing. There is no buildings. There's nothing. There are wildlife and trees, beaches, rivers, lakes, streams, but nothing is built. There is no grocery store. There is no electricity. There is nothing. You do not have power tools. You simply land on the shore and you look and you see wilderness, and you have to survive. There's some rations on the ship, but you're to just go explore and start building shelter and scavenging for food and hunting. That is how America was started. always understand I'm not minimizing slavery. But if you were a white person living in this country, you had some sort of rudimentary shelter. You had a dirt floor. There was no such thing as carpet here. And it was bad. A very, very, very small percentage of Americans had slaves. They just suffered. All races just suffered to create something so amazing for us. And that's why I have to believe that until the day that you and I, no matter what you look like, that all we are Americans. That's it. You're not African American. You're not Italian American. You're not Asian American. You're just an American, just like me. And I often wonder why we are still in this struggle. And one of the things that I have thought of is that I believe that some people wake up and they think somebody else has it easier. Somebody wakes up in pain, struggling, and thinks to themselves, I'm going through this, but no one else is, or they aren't. We are, but they aren't. I'm here to tell you, everyone is in pain. Everyone is suffering. Everyone is struggling. Obviously, I'm not talking to Jeff Bezos or any Bill Gates or any of the Hollywood elite or the sports elites or the people with just like ridiculous money that they have servants. They don't call them slaves anymore. People cleaning their house, cleaning their toilet, getting their groceries. I don't think they're watching this. I think the majority of people that are watching my channel are going to end up just like me. You're just a normal person. You're not rich. You don't have a private jet. But I want you to be able to find yourself in a comfortable place like me when you're my age. And for those of you that are my age watching this, I apologize because I preach to the majority. And 75% of my viewers are under the age of 35. And so that's who I typically guide my message towards. Because they need to know that there is a way. There is a way through the suffering. And I believe it's only through suffering that we can get where we want to be. And that's the key. There is a lot of unrest in the world right now. In America, we have anti-deportation riots going on. Around the world, there are wars. Iran and Israel, Gaza, Hamas, Palestine, Ukraine, Russia, the Mexican mafias, cartels. There's just a lot of pain in the world. There's people that are struggling to pay their bills, wondering how they're going to pay their light bill tomorrow, or their electricity is going to get turned off tomorrow. There are kids that are being abused, animals that are being abused. The world has a lot of pain, but there is beauty as well. And so I want you to just try to understand that no matter where you are, no matter how painful life is right now, that it's going to get better. a very rich family and everything is given to you. You have to work for it. And that's just how it has to be. A lot of people are, clamoring in the streets about not having to work, that we shouldn't have to do these mundane jobs. But don't you want to live in a world that has a Taco Bell? I mean, don't you want to be able to call a professional? Like, if your toilet messes up, what if your roof starts leaking? These are not jobs that robots can do yet. Maybe someday the robots will be able to do all the messy stuff. Let me ask you something. Let's say you want to take a road trip to see a good friend or a dear relative, and it's a 5-hour drive. You are likely going to have to stop for fuel of some sort, and you may have to use the restroom. Do you want a clean toilet? Do you want to see an overflowing trash can? These are jobs that have to be done. They have to be done. The idea is that is where we start. We start at the bottom. And we do those jobs knowing that they have to be done, and that this is the place we start. We start at the bottom, and we do those jobs with a smile and dignity and respect and quality. We do a good job. We get promoted. We get off bathroom duty and get moved up to the cash register. We get moved from the cash register to managing. We leave managing that to managing something else. We leave managing that to owning our own small business. Maybe you're a plumber. You start out just doing the worst jobs. You're digging the ditch. You're doing the what they call grunt labor. You're doing the hard jobs, the job the boss doesn't want to do. Get down in the crawl space. You're the one getting dirty. But eventually, you do a good job. You show up on time. You work extra when needed. You serve your employer well. And you get moved up. And you get moved up again. And maybe eventually you're estimating. And then you realize that you want to open your own plumbing company. And you hire your own people. And you get your own jobs. This is how it works. Even in the military, if you want to fly a fighter jet, you know what you have to do. You have to go through basic training. You don't just get to walk in and start flying a jet. You go through the hell of basic training. And then the schooling to learn how to do it safely and responsibly. So the point is expectations. You have to have proper expectations, or life is going to be way more difficult than it needs to be. But if you expect difficulty, ironically, it makes it easier. I don't know why, but it does. So having a proper expectation for life is going to make it much more bearable, and it will make the happy moments that much more happy. So setting proper expectations for life and setting the expectation for difficulty. Hi, Pearl. Setting the expectation for difficulty is important. The other thing that I want you to think about is, why are you doing it? Why is it worth going through the suffering to get to where? Where do you want to get to? You just probably build a massive animal sanctuary to provide a beautiful place to live for unwanted animals. But at the same time, I've worked for a long time, over 30 years, and I'm ready to just relax some. I'm ready to just walk my dogs, love on my dogs, take time making my meals, exercise, enjoy sunrises and sunsets. That's what I wanted. That's what I imagined my retirement. Well, I did retire in 2019, and after 7 months I got bored, and so I went back to work selling real estate. And now I'm still doing it, but I have slowed down a lot because I started getting busier than I wanted to be in that life. But I still do it because I still find some satisfaction in it. But when I do not any longer, I won't be doing it anymore. That is the reason that I believe we should go through the suffering. Because we want to get to a place where we are financially free, that we do not have to do those jobs anymore. The jobs that need to be done, the jobs that are there to help people climb the ladder of life. That is just how our society works. If you want to go to Taco Bell, somebody has got to make the tacos. Somebody has got to clean that restroom inside the Taco Bell. Somebody has got to empty the trash cans at Taco Bell. Somebody has got to pick up the trash in the parking lot because some people litter. These are jobs that cannot be done by robots yet. They have to be done by people. And you don't want to do them anymore. You work your way up to get yourself to wherever you want to be. And it's critical that you do the right things when you're young, so that you don't end up old. You don't want to be, I'm over 50. You do not want to be over 50 struggling financially. Not saying it's not possible to still make it, because it is. If you're over 50 and just now waking up, there's still time. You could hustle for 20 years, and at 70 you could still feel young. I believe I'll still feel young at 70. That's 17 years away. I can't believe I'm going to be 70 in 17 years. It's almost like unbelievable for me to even understand that. But it's the facts of life that I can't escape. And your years are going to fly by too. So it's critical that you start to take life seriously and quit complaining and just do it. Do you know that if you saved $1,000 a month for 15 years, and just in a basic S&P 500 fund, that in 15 years that would be $500,000? That's 15 years. So if you're 25 and you're watching this now at 25, and you could start saving $1,000 a month by the time you're 40. When you're 40, you $100 in a month, they'll just spend it because they have it to spend. And that's where most people mess up. They spend everything they get, or they spend more than they get, and they get themselves into colossal debt. So I did it. Look, I'm not criticizing. I did it. I remember when I woke up, I had a car payment and a house payment and credit cards. And I watched this documentary called Sitgeist. And it explained the monetary system and debt and banking and how it's a rotten system. And it just really upset me. And it made me realize, literally, it was in that moment after I watched it that I said, no more. That's it. I'm making a change. And I immediately stopped all the ridiculous excess spending that I was spending. I focused on paying down my debt. And it took a lot of years, but eventually I got out of debt. Then everything I made was mine. Think about it. What if think about your paycheck this week or next week if you get paid every 2 weeks. What if you had no bills to pay out of that paycheck? How quickly do you think you could save money? Right? If you had no bills and you were very frugal with your spending, look how much money you could save. That's the beauty of getting out of debt. Now, even with no debt, you still have needs. You have, groceries and gas and insurances on cars and house if you have a house. But those bills are nominal and easy to pay. If people did not have rent and did not have car payments, they wouldn't struggle paying their electric bill. They wouldn't struggle paying for groceries. People struggle because of all of it combined. When you're paying rent and you're paying a car payment and car insurance and license plates and paying for the internet and paying for a cell phone, and you have some subscriptions and you're paying for groceries and utilities, and it's just so much. It's a lot to be able to make it. And that's why it's critical that you concentrate on finances. Again, money does not make you happy. Money is not going to make you happy. But money is a critical ingredient in the recipe for happiness. It's just one of the things that you have to be financially comfortable to be happy. You will not be happy if you are getting disconnect notices for your electricity, or getting evicted from an apartment, or having a house foreclosed on by the bank because you haven't paid. It's not happiness. That is pressure and stress, and it's hell. It's the worst. And so that's why I think it's critical that we focus on our finances, because I believe everything else kind of falls into place. Friends are easy to make and easy to keep. Love might be a little bit more difficult to find, but it's still possible to find love, and the search for love is kind of fun, right? But the quest for money, it's not typically fun. It's hard work. And so that's why I think you look at all the ingredients in your personal recipe for happiness. Like for me, dogs are in my recipe for happiness. They may not be in yours. You might have iguanas in your recipe for happiness, or birds. I love all animals, but I don't need an iguana to be happy. I don't need a parrot to be happy, but I know a person that needs a parrot to be happy. So we're all different. Our recipes are all different, but I can assure you that we all have money in our recipe. And I think that focusing on the most difficult things to get is your number one task in how to advance your life forward. Focus on the hardest ones first. Get those out of the way. On that topic, it's like one of the things that I think that we are convinced or sold a theory on is that we have only got to work 5 days a week. We have to have weekends off, or we have to have 3 vacations a year. We have to leave our house and go somewhere else. I'm not anti-travel. I'm not saying don't take vacations. Some people need breaks to recharge. For me, I always looked at me coming home as recharging every day. Like, rather than looking at my life as 6 months, saying, okay, I've worked 6 months, now I need to go recharge by leaving and going somewhere. I looked at my life as every day. Every day I'm going to wake up. I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to put the mask on. I'm going to go into work. I'm going to be a soldier for my career. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to take the mask off. I'm going to come home and I am going to recharge and love on my animals and exercise, or whatever it is for you that helps you can recharge daily, and so that you're ready to go again tomorrow. Now again, I'm not saying that you don't ever want to do this. I'm saying sometimes you have to sacrifice some things in order to get ahead. So if you said, look, I'm in a hole right now, what can I do? Well, can you work more? Can you work weekends? Can you stop taking vacations and stop paying for those for 2 or 3 years while you get yourself ahead? It's the theory is delayed gratification. That the gratification is going to come. It's just delayed. So you sacrifice today for tomorrow. And I know some people will say, yeah, live for today because you don't know if you get tomorrow. Well, what if you do get tomorrow and you didn't plan for it? The odds are astronomical that you're going to make it to see tomorrow. And so I say, play the odds. The odds are you are going to live, and you are going to live to be old. And if you do not do it now, you will come to a day where it will be required that you will one day wake up and say, okay, I need to do it now. Even though I don't want to do it now, I have to do it now. And I just believe that the younger you start, the better off you'll be. The other thing along those lines is when you're working, guess what you're not doing? You're not spending money. You know what else you're not doing? You're not getting in trouble. You're not out drinking. You're not getting DUIs. You're not doing something stupid like, climbing a tree you shouldn't be in because you're being goofy or whatever it is, and falling out and breaking your wrist and having to take time off work. When you are at work, you are being disciplined and you're making money. So it's just another justification. And again, I'm only mentioning these things because they are kind of like psychological trickery for your mind by saying, look, it's like you're telling yourself, I'm going to enforce my own military basic training on myself. I'm going to take the next 6 months and I am going to be disciplined and I am going to turn this problem around. And I promise you, immediately you will start seeing changes. The second you start shifting your behaviors, you will going to be getting off of this video and dwelling on the fact that, oh God, ASMR reality, he looked horrible tonight. ASMR reality needs to do this or that. No, you're not going to do it. In the same way, nobody's really thinking about you. You think anybody cares. Now you probably have people in your life who truly care about you. But the point is like what kind of car you drive, or whether you go out and go to a game or go to a club with your friends. Do you think they are going to think differently of you? If anything, I think most of them, if they want what's best for you, they will understand that, wow, this person's doing something good for their life, and maybe you'll rub off on them if they need the same type of, if they need to do the same type of thing in their life. But when we worry about what other people think, we're not going to make good decisions. You have to think about what is best for you and the people you love. That's who you focus on, not strangers. It's just not. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But you do, and you should. One saying I heard recently was, ships don't sink because of the water around them. They only sink if it gets inside. And I think our lives are a lot like that, in that you can be in the midst of a hornet's nest, but if you don't let it get you, you won't get stung. If you don't agitate it. Similarly, like negativity, you cannot let negativity get inside of you. You can be around negativity, and you're bound to be around negativity. You go to work and you hear somebody complaining, or you have a friend that is just a militant victim, where all they do is say it's somebody else's fault. You can hear it. You can be amongst it. But if you let it get inside of you, it will hurt you. But if you keep it at a distance, keep it on the outside, it will not. You have to fight off negativity, resentment, anger, all of that stuff. You've got to keep it out. You can't let it in your mind. You just have to stay focused and say, I know I can do this. It doesn't matter. Your friends might tell you, yeah, you're stupid. What are you thinking? You're never gonna make it. Not going out one night's not gonna make your plans fail, right? If you fall prey to that, then it can hurt you, and you just have to stay strong and diligent. And I think that it will be telling for you if you ever do have those people who are trying to take you off your path. You might make a note to yourself that they may not be ones that you want to hang around. There is a theory that we become the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. I would like to think that you spend a lot of time with me, and I can tell you that I'm a good person. So if I'm one of your 5, then at least you've got me. But if there are people in your life that are negative, that always try, if after you leave them you feel down, not up, if they're not uplifting you, or they're not inspiring you, if you're not leaving their presence with respect and thinking, God, I'm so glad they're my friend, or God, they help me so much, those are the types of people that you want to be around. Not people that are encouraging you to do bad things or think bad thoughts. I want to discuss is the theory that the grass is always greener. And somebody had mentioned this in the comments about, in my video about being single and never having kids. And I mentioned the regret that my 86-year-old friend has, that he has never been married and he never had kids and he has massive regrets. And this comment was like, it's the grass is always greener syndrome, in that my friend has regret because Vivian is dreaming in her bed and she's scraping the side of the box. I apologize if that's bothersome. Anyway, he has massive regret, and so the theory was that, but there are married people who married the wrong woman or the wrong man, who wish to God they'd have stayed single, or wish to God they didn't have kids. It's like everybody, we always want what we don't have. And I think that's why it's important to focus on what you really want. Because my belief is that expectations are going to make coping, proper expectations are going to make coping the easiest way. If you set proper expectations, coping through struggle is going to be the easiest it can possibly be. The second thing I think that you need is, let me see if I can make her stop, because this may not be bothering you, but it's bothering me. So the thing that I think is second most important is the vision that you have, the desire you have, because the expectations will get you through the struggle mentally. The desire will be the draw. It will be like the light that you go towards. It will be the thoughts that you can think about that will be the positive thoughts. It's like, because you can't, let's say that you truly do want a Ferrari or you want a jet. Well, you can have thoughts of having one. You can imagine what life is going to be like someday when you get that. For me, it was just to have a decent home, a nice car to drive, and have everything paid for, and have enough money that I never had to work again, and that I could sustain that lifestyle. Not flashy, not extravagant, but just a decent life. And that's what I did. That's what I have. I didn't want extravagance. I didn't, but I've made a good life for myself, and I'm comfortable, and I have a few toys, and I have beautiful animals. But it took me a lot of years. If you would have saw me 25 years ago, you would have seen I didn't have this house. I didn't have any of the cars I have now. I had a fraction of the money I have now. But I was in the midst of this struggle. I was working 80 hours a week. I was laser focused. That's what you have to do. But the idea, the dream of one day waking up and not having to go into that dealership or deal with the madness that I dealt with, or like giving damn near every waking hour of my free time to work, to try to make money, to catch up, to get ahead. That was the dream, the vision I had kept me going. It pulled me through the darkest days when I was like, I wanted to give up, but I knew that if I just keep going, there's a chance. I think I can get there. I believe I can get there. And so that's the vision. That's why the vision is so important, because it will pull you through. The expectations will ground you, keep you logical and understanding that life is hard. Pretending that it's easy ain't gonna make it easy. You gotta set focus on really what you want. And the next step is discipline. You just have to do it. You have to wake up. You have to do the right things. You have to be diligent and disciplined to do it. If you want to lose weight, you have to eat right. You have to exercise. You have to do the things to get what you want. It isn't going to happen on its own. I don't even care with Ozempic. Yeah, you might lose weight, but if you're flabby and not muscular, you're not going to be happy and you're not going to be healthy. So that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this. I will see you on the next one.